Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of MagicReview.com. Today we're looking at the first and only female magician to win Magic Castle's Close-Up Magician of the Year. Bam! The Magic of Suzanne. And this is her Castle act that she won for, I guess it was 2010. And I believe that no female has won since then. That was 5 years ago. And this was filmed in 2014. And they mentioned that she was the only one, and that was only a year ago. So my guess is she's still the one and only. So now, let me be clear what you're getting here. And this is covered in the ad copy, but you may go into it with different expectations if you aren't aware of this. And so what you're getting, this is not a DVD about effects or tricks or methods. This is a DVD about somebody who won the Close-Up Magician of the Year, and that act and how that act came to be, and how she chose the effects and why she chose the effects and how she created them or modified the existing effects to become her own, and so on and so forth. It's very clear on the ad copy that you're not being taught the tricks. That you are being taught 2 of the 4 effects. The entire act is 4 tricks long, and you're taught 2 of those 4 effects, and that's what the ad copy says, and that is what you get. So we'll talk more about the philosophy or whatever, if you will, in a moment. But first, let's cover what the effects are and what you are taught. So the first one is basically a variation of, or her handling of Ambitious Card, and it's very much, if you're familiar with Greg Wilson's version with the blank cards, it's similar to that, and it's got a lot of the fun, quirky, goofy, chiding with the audience kind of moments in it that his does. So it's very similar to that. She follows that with, again, her handling of the Homing Card by Francis Carlisle. In between that, this all blank deck magically becomes a regular deck. And then after Homing Card, the tone of the show switches a little bit to, on one level, a cute trick, but on another level, a very deep and powerful and beautiful trick, which is the transposition of the pads on a Band-Aid, not the Band-Aid itself, but the pads. So, she opens the Band-Aid, writes something on the pad, sticks it on the spectator's hand, gets another Band-Aid, writes something on it, sticks it on her forehead, and then the somethings that are written trade places. Now that's her handling of a Joe Gibbons effect, which is called Band-Aid transposition, or Band-Aid transpo. So that effect, the reason I say it's cute on one level, it's the Band-Aid trick, that's kind of cute. But the other level is, it's a story about how moms are magical, and the power of mom's love can heal your wounds, and why kids think Band-Aids are magical. It's a beautiful presentational piece. And so that's that one. And the final one is her handling of Al Schneider's, well, I wouldn't even say her handling, it's almost identical in handling. Very, very similar with very minor modifications. But it's Al Schneider's Cups and Balls routine. She's changed a few of the loads. And what the big thing she's bringing to the table in this is the story, the presentation. And the story or presentation is very much about the, your life's journey of knowledge and wisdom. And it's very Eugene Burgerish. You could tell she went to the mystery school. That was very much inspired by her time there. So, the McBride Magic and Mystery School. So those are 4 effects. You're taught in depth the deck switch that is used in between the 2 card tricks and the 2 card tricks. You're taught her handling of the Homing Card and her handling of the Ambitious Card with the blank cards. So those are taught in depth and are taught very well. And her host, Matt Damon's twin brother almost, Matt Mercy, that guy right there, he's the host who directs the conversation, and it's very good that he did a good job at seeing where Suzanne might have rushed over something, and he says, well, hey, can you show it from this angle so that they can see? So you get a very good in-depth teaching of that. Even though, again, this video is not about teaching magic per se, okay? It's not about teaching tricks. It is about teaching magic. Ooh, that's deep, baby, right there. That's deep. You know it. Anyway, so moving on. What you'll also see is multiple performances. There's 2 discs in here, which I don't think I got them in the other. One's in my DVD player and one's just sitting on my desk. But there's 2 discs, and across the course of the 2 discs, you'll see multiple performances, and you can watch the performances with or without commentary. And then there's also interviews later. There's sort of interviews during the explanation of those 2 effects. And then there's an interview, rather than teaching the Band-Aid trick, there's sort of an interview about the Band-Aid trick, and we'll talk about that content in a minute. And then rather than teaching the cups and balls, there's an interview about that effect as well. So with all the interviews and all the commentary, there is a little bit of overlap in some of the content, but it's worth watching all of it because there are some things that she mentions in the commentary that she doesn't mention in the interview, and vice versa. So there's a lot of great content there. What it comes down to is you're learning from an expert who's been doing this for 30 years, or I think that's how long she said, which surprised me because I thought she was probably maybe in her mid-30s. So, yeah, she's been doing it for 30 years. Since I was a wee lad, she's been doing this routine, and it won her Close-Up Magician of the Year. So you're learning from her during these interview segments and commentary and watching her perform. You're learning from her how to structure a show, the arc of the show, the character of the show, how the character changes throughout the show, how she come up with the ideas, how she personalize them, her creative process, why she chose to do this effect over that effect, all kinds of great stuff. If you're a magician who wants to become a performer, this is the kind of stuff you need to be watching. This is the kind of stuff you need to learn from. So, I think that covers one other thing. One of the performances, she had this guy that was her main helper, and the dude was just wasted, just drunk. And you could tell that he was not all there. I mean, he was still with it, but he was drunk, very tipsy. And me, I would have been like, dude, I'm getting another volunteer. Not her. I think it was, I always want to call him Isaac Asimov. Anthony, is it Anthony Asimov? I think that's it. Yeah, Anthony Asimov. I think it was him who had the idea to use that guy, and so that we could see how she would handle it on film. And I'm glad they used him because it was the best performance of all of the takes that they did of all the different shows. You get, again, multiple performances. And this guy, even though he was wasted, she was able to use what he said and what he did to, on the fly, modify her script, which is very well rehearsed. You can tell that, but it's so well rehearsed that she's allowed to get off of the script. Also a very Eugene Berger technique. And so she got off the script to use some of the things he said as callbacks, which just added a ton to the connecting with the audience and the comedy of those particular routines. And there were callbacks throughout the whole show while he was the volunteer. The first 3 tricks she used as a volunteer. And so through the whole thing, there were callbacks and comedy moments that were created by her being aware enough to latch on to what this drunk guy was saying. And she was able to manage the guy and keep the show going, stay on script where she needed to, but yet still have a great show where, even the moments where he's sort of detracted from things, she was able to reel it back in. You'll learn a ton by watching that performance. It's awesome. So, all that aside, the only negative I've got to say about this is a little bit about the production quality. I do want to cover that because it's important. Let's talk about the DVD menu and stuff real quick. The menu's fine. You navigate it fine. It's easy to get through it. But there's no play all button, and that's always a bummer for me. I hate when there's not a play all button. Other than that, the navigation was fine. The production quality, I don't know if it's just something, the castle, I don't know what, the Magic Castle, but it seems like every time, no matter who the production company is, every time I watch a video that was filmed in the Magic Castle, the quality of film is not that great. And I don't know why that is. So, for example, now I know I'm in a well-lit, quote, studio here in my office. And, you can see clearly that's a 6 of diamonds. Clearly that's a blueback card. Now, again, I'm holding the card about, 8 to 10 or so inches from the camera. And that's not quite a luxury you have when you're filming a show. But it was difficult to tell what the cards were in a lot of the shots because of the lighting. It just washed out the cards. And in fact, the blank ambitious card deal, it was a moment or two into the show before I realized those are blank cards. She gives the double blank cards out to the spectator to shuffle them up, and she plays along like they're a regular deck of cards. And it's part of the gag and the fun of the routine. And I didn't realize that they were a regular that they were a blank deck. I thought they were regular because A, she was saying it, and B, I couldn't tell because of the lighting. So it was a little bit of a bummer where I kind of got robbed as a spectator of the moment of funniness that was there just because of the poor lighting. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But that lighting it's a pretty common thing I see in videos production today. And I don't know why that is. But especially when they're filmed in the castle. I don't know what the deal is. The other thing, castle footage tends to have that, 80s home movie quality to it. It's not that bad. This one's not that bad. But it's doesn't feel HD. And I'm not saying it wasn't. I don't know if it was filmed with an HD camera or not. But it's got, I don't know if grainy is the right word, but it's still, you can see everything other than that blank deck business I just said. It's still good quality overall. Good quality, not great quality. So it's good enough that you can see the routine, you can see the flow, and you can see what you need to see to learn what you need to learn, which is all about the show and not about the minutia necessarily. So that's the only negative I got to say about it. And that did cause it to take a little bit of a dock on the final star rating. Other than that, I got no issues with this. And also, I think it's cool that she used to be a programmer back in the 80s. So I'm a programmer, and many of you know that. So I thought that was cool that she was a programmer turned magician. And she apparently is a little bit of a country music buff because she made reference to Johnny Cash's A Boy Named Sue, which, I love classic country, as you all know. Please let that be the random iTunes song of the moment. Boy Named Sue, that'd be great. Anyway, so that's the whole deal. That's what you're getting. If you're looking to improve as a performer and learn how to structure your act, and the other thing that you get is that she only does 4 tricks. Her repertoire is like 6 tricks or whatever. She says this. That's it. And she's been doing this for a living for 30 years. There's a huge lesson to be learned there, guys. A huge lesson. So, final verdict, 4.5 stars, stone status of gem. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the random iTunes song of the moment, which is... Phantom of the Opera by Nightwish. I'm going to put a link in the description below for this. Let me scan it. I want you to hear some of this. Come on, here we go. Get a sense of that? There you go. So, one of my favorite YouTube channels is Watch Mojo, and they always have these top 10 lists. And I just watched one the other day that was the top 10 female heavy metal vocalists. So I'm like, yeah, I love a female voice that's just got power to it. I love Evanescence. I love Doro Pesch from Warlock. And, of course, both of them were on that list, by the way, on the top 10. And so I played that video, and there were 8 other bands I'd never heard of that blew my mind. One of them was this band called Nightwish, and this is a live rendition of Phantom of the Opera. And that girl, it's like taking an opera singer and grabbing some classical music and converting it to heavy metal and smashing it all together, and you get Nightwish. There's another band that that's called Within Temptation that was on the list, and then there was Epica. All these are like my new favorites. These are great bands. I'll put a link to that top 10 video. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. And I'll also put a link to the song that you just heard, Phantom of the Opera. Anyway, that's it for this long video. Stay tuned for the next one. No, don't stay tuned. Tune in next time, which I don't know when that'll be, but whenever it is, it will be A Study in Secrets presents 3 Secrets? I don't know, something, I'm not sure. Thunderstruck, Crackdown, and Waltz by Vanishing Ink. Magic. Sorry about that. That scared me, man. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.